Hello, my name is Alex Cawley, and today we're going to be looking at Aria in F by Johann Christian Bach, Bach's youngest son. He wrote this when he was around 10. The main difficulties in this piece are going to be contrapuntal writing, so sometimes the left hand is playing a little melody of its own, as well as the ornaments. The right hand has to play a trill towards the beginning, and this is pretty unfortunate because it's right at the beginning of the song and it's going to put everyone off. And you're going to be in the exam and you're not going to enjoy playing it. So that's the first thing we want to tackle. The easiest way to do it is like this. Left hand, you're just holding an octave. Right hand, that's the trill. 3 notes per crotchet. Right? Speeding that up a little bit. A little bit faster. Faster. Now in context. No problem. One of the main things with practicing trills is that they're difficult to play slow. They don't sound right when they're slow, so you want to just make it mathematical. The next thing to look at is the left hand. I see a lot of people making this mistake with the octaves. The left hand is playing octaves and fifths a lot of the time, but you want to make sure you're using the right finger, otherwise it's really uncomfortable. So this at the beginning, not this. See how uncomfortable that looks? Later on as well, you have this. Not this. This is very uncomfortable. I don't want to play this. So make sure you're using 3 when it says to use 3 and 2 when it says to use 2. That's why. It's just uncomfortable the other way. One of the ways you can practice this is just holding all 3 of the notes down at the same time. This is also useful for practicing hands together because the left hand is now much simpler. There's an example of holding down multiple notes. It's most useful for the octaves, but you can apply it in other places as well. The left hand is a melody of its own. However, most of the time, like we said, it's just playing fifths and octaves. But the few times where it does play a melody, it's a nice idea to try and bring it out. Here are some examples of some of the melodies. Pretty nice. As well as this. And then later on. These are all melodies, so you want to treat them as such. Another aspect of the music is this crotchet and then 2 quavers motif. Because it's the exact same bit of music all the way through, with only slight variations, it wants to sound the same. The slurring in bar 6, if you use 3 and then 3 again, it helps with that slur. Because you're forced, or at least it benefits you for taking your hand off the piano. Release. It's much easier to get that slur because you're kind of building it into the way that you're playing it. The last time you play this phrase is towards the end, and there's a little trap where you've got a rest in the left hand, and it's very easy to join this all up together. But that's not right. It wants to be this. That's the motif. Nothing. There's a rest in the left hand. If you don't have to do anything to get a mark, basically. You don't play anything, get a mark. 3 marks, basically, for doing nothing. So here's how it wants to be. Not. Hopefully you can hear the difference. Scales are always very important when you're learning a piece of music. This piece is in F, and towards the end the right hand plays basically just an F major scale. It's played in exactly the same way as well, so make sure that you know how to play an F major scale properly. And then use that information to your advantage. You're just playing an F major scale here. Isn't that nice? The dynamics of this piece are pretty straightforward. It starts off mezzo forte, the B section's mezzo piano, and then it ends forte. You want to make sure that there's a nice contrast between the mezzo forte and the mezzo piano. The easiest way to do this is to just make sure that the ending of the A piece, the A section, is nice and strong. And then there's a brief pause as you change gear for the mezzo piano. There's a couple of moments where the fingering gets a little bit strange, but it's always for a good reason. In bar 2, the right hand does this, which might seem strange, as you could argue that, why can't I just play like this? But it says 1-3 for a very good reason, and that is to put you into position for the rest of the next sort of 3 bars. So yeah, I don't have to move at all, as well as that is fairly comfortable. So you change to facilitate that. Same thing happens in the left hand later on, funnily enough on the same 2 notes, A and B flat. So again, you have to make sure that you're changing to 2, as it sets you up for quite a lot of material to be placed under your hand. One of the ways to practice this is just completely removing the A and just starting with the B flat, so like this. That way, hopefully you can see the benefit of changing the fingers here, and then go back and add that thumb on A. So here's a quick performance of the whole thing. Hope this has all been helpful. My name's been Alex Oliver Cawley, and I'll see you next time.